Rhythm games are fantastic. True tests of skill amidst the multitude of luck-driven affairs in video games. They are as fun to immerse into as they are grueling on higher difficulties, yet satisfying when these challenges are conquered. In a day and age where gaming culture is spoiled by an abundance of gameplay features that make a gamer's experience more manageable, rhythm games always remain a breath of fresh air when it comes to testing your mettle. I might be repeating myself when I say this, but I'm a rhythm game nut. Music is an instrumental part of my life, and just give me 1 second. I gotta write down this goldmine of a pun so I can use it again in the future. Honestly speaking, my family, or my father's side of the family, lives and breathes music. It is imprinted in my DNA, having learned a solid amount of music theory and my share of instruments, which are the piano, the violin, and the guitar, and I sing too. So naturally, my passion for music translates to a passion for rhythm games. Dance Dance Revolution is one of my all-time personal favorite video game series because of the timeliness of its gameplay, the generally excellent and constantly evolving assortment of songs, and the fact that it was, at its time, revolutionary. Holy shit, I am on fire today. That's the second pun in 40 seconds now. I gotta write this down too. But you already know that by now, if you've seen my Twitter activity in the second part of my 500 subscriber Q&A special. I've been playing Dance Dance Revolution since its first installment from 1998, though I've only taken it seriously somewhere around 2013. There's never a shortage of fun, challenge, and exhilaration for me, and I'm always motivated to improve my game. Although, there is one game around the block that's recently captured my heart. No, really, I'm head over heels for this game. It took an arrow from its quiver and shot it at me with its bow. I am in love with it. Around the same time that DDR was released, a rhythm game of a very similar nature was also in the process of incubation. But instead of hailing from the land of the rising sun Japan, it hails from the neighboring country of South Korea. It's a little game that you wouldn't hear about that much, if at all, if you're not a part of the rhythm game community. That game is Pump It Up, developed and published by South Korean game company Andamiro. While Dance Dance Revolution is known for its 4-arrow layout, up, down, left, and right, Pump It Up, or PIU, or just Pump, boasts a 5-panel layout consisting of 4 diagonal arrows in the center panel. Because of this layout, Pump It Up's difficulty is by default greater than DDR's. And also because of the layout, your typical Pump It Up routines are very elaborate and encourage you to move your body in ways that DDR normally wouldn't. Thus, it can be argued that Pump resembles dancing more than its Japanese counterpart. And of course, these routines become even more elaborate on higher difficulties, and the average difficulty is ever increasing with each new installment or update. Since the inaugural release back in 1999, the Pump It Up series has had many of these installments and updates. I can't speak for every single one of them because I'm only well versed in the newer generation of games, though I've had a sample of it in the past before taking it seriously. But we're not here to talk about the past. We're here to talk about the future. Future! Stop that. Pump It Up Prime 2 is the newest installment in the Pump It Up series, released in Korea on November of last year and worldwide in the following months. Here in Australia, it was released in May of this year, so it's a very new and very welcome addition to the country's arcade scene. My local arcades were generous enough to afford not just the software itself, but the latest cutting-edge and absolute best possible hardware that it could be played on, the Pump It Up LX model arcade cabinet. This thing is a beast. It sports an enormous 55-inch high-definition screen that projects the game at a native 1080p resolution on a 16:9 aspect ratio. The actual cabinet itself is framed with glistening LED lights that flash during gameplay. Mounted below the screen is a set of 4 speakers and a pair of specialized card scanners and USB ports, which I'll get into later. And at the bottom of the cabinet is a pair of subwoofers, one for each side, that maximize the sound quality and also act as a pair of stools where you can safely place your belongings while you play. It is a beautiful, beautiful machine that makes the gameplay experience that much more exciting. Now, the game itself. While Dance Dance Revolution typically has its assortment of J-pop and generation-specific genres of music, from Eurobeat to trance to EDM, both licensed and composed in-house, Pump It Up's main flavor is K-pop coupled with songs from a wide range of in-house and international composers. The K-pop songs featured are usually the currently popular ones, And in the case of this installment, two such examples are Bang 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 by Korean sensation Big Bang,
Bang bang bang. Bang bang bang. Bang bang bang.
and Boombaya by newcomer girl group Blackpink.
Boombaya. Yeah, 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 Boombaya. Yeah, 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 Boombaya.
A lot of the in-house music are remixes of classical pieces, with the newer tunes taking influences from more recent genres like EDM. As of now, Pump It Up Prime 2's music library is comprised of over 300 songs, with additional songs being included via periodical software patches released through online connectivity. By default, you only have access to a fraction of the content, but by inputting a special combination on the dance pad, you enter full mode and everything opens up for you. And if you think that the game is very generous content-wise, it gets even more generous the deeper you go. Starting from the previous iteration, called Pump It Up Prime, Ondamiro has implemented an online service that allows you to maximize your gameplay experience. The service is called am.net, and the process for creating your own account is easy as 1, 2, 3. Simply visit the game's official website, click join, and follow the prompts. There are two ways to use your account in the actual game. The first way is by downloading a bin file into a USB flash drive and connecting it to one of the USB ports. The second is to purchase an am.net ID card from your arcade, registering it to your account, and then using it via one of the card scanners. Here is the Prime 2 am.net ID card. So like I said, if your arcade has Prime 2, chances are that they'll be selling this card too. And the way you use it is pretty simple. Just scan it like that. On the scanner right here. See? That's simple. By using this system, you automatically gain access to all of the game's up-to-date available content without the need to input the special combination. Additional content can be unlocked by leveling up your profile and making purchases on the website using in-game currency earned during gameplay. Gameplay-wise, Prime 2 offers several playstyles to keep the game from getting stale. Singles play has you using one pad on a dance stage. While doubles play, as the name implies, has you using both pads, again very akin to DDR. Unlike DDR, where you typically pay twice as much for this mode, you only pay once in Pump, and you can switch freely between both playstyles during a single session. And also unlike DDR, an additional playstyle you can try is co-op, in which you can play patterns specifically designed for groups of people, ranging from as low as 2 players to as high as 5 players. Just try not to lose your balance or step on your partner's feet though, and keep your eyes peeled. I've been playing this game ever since it came out, and I've always had a blast. Even in times where I'm clearly frustrated by something in the game, my enjoyment has always been greater than my frustrations. The freedom in which you can move around in this game is something that, to be honest, I don't feel that much when I play DDR. It really does feel like I'm dancing. That is, if you ignore the whole holding on to the safety bar for dear life part. Not to diss on DDR or anything, I still love it to death, but I'm gonna be honest, there are times where I thought the patterns in that game were static. Between DDR, its western counterparts in the Groove and Step Mania, and Pump It Up, I'd say DDR is the most technical out of all of them because the patterns call for techniques that don't feel intuitive and require some trial and error to get down pat. In the Groove and Step Mania, as intimidating as a typical high-level pattern from those games may look, are actually more straightforward. It's just that they require brute force and speed, and the only real technique here is the art of minimizing movement as much as possible to conserve energy, which is universal amongst these games. As fun as the 4-panel games may be, and I'm still gonna play them, that type of minimalism is kind of a turnoff, especially to the casual crowd looking to try to get into these games. No, it's not the use of the safety bar like some old-fashioned prude will tell you. Pump It Up combines the best of both worlds, the technical intricacies of DDR and the stamina-demanding standards of In the Groove. The selection of music, while not as good as DDR's music, is still excellent and well known enough to their respective demographics that it'll entice them to give the game, or at least the songs, a try. The presentation of Prime 2 is legitimately some of the best I've seen in any arcade game. The LX cabinet, like I said, a masterpiece of an arcade machine. For such an exciting game, you want the machine to be as attractive and cutting edge as possible, and Prime 2 succeeds there. If this machine were a person, I would marry it. Oh no, Jenny. I'm sorry. I was exaggerating. I didn't mean it. Oh, Jenny, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. Just please don't cry. Please don't cry. You know, I can't stand to see you like this. Oh, please, Jenny, stop crying. Don't cry anymore. Just please don't be mad at me. Aesthetically and practically, the menus are easy on the eyes and user-friendly in terms of navigation. If you need to look for a specific song, you can select certain channels and their folders containing the song in question. You need a K-pop song? Go to the K-pop folder. You want to play a song at its original full length? There's a folder dedicated to that too. You want to find something easy or something hard? You can also search by difficulty. A cool function that Prime 2 carries over from past Pump It Ups is allowing a second player to join in at any time. I know that used to exist in past DDRs, but I don't know if it's around anymore. So it's pretty much the rhythm game equivalent of a new challenger showing up to play you in a fighting game. However, fantastic as Prime 2 may be, it does come with caveats, some that have been present for a while and some that are recently introduced. While I praise Pump It Up for its robust gameplay and solid challenge, it has a tendency to take things a step too far, pun absolutely intended. This mostly applies to the higher tiers of difficulty, but it can creep its way into the average skill area. There will be times where you have to step on 3 panels simultaneously on top of the standard 1 or 2, and these are almost always 2 arrows in the center panel. This is difficult. I can't tell you how many times I've been gypped out of a high score and grade because the game said, "Fuck you, Martin," and threw that sort of step at me. It adds to the challenge, sure, but like with anything difficult in a video game, excessive usage of it contributes to artificial difficulty. Unfortunately, some artists responsible for these patterns have something of a sociopathic streak. Difficult maneuvers like the bracket jump I mentioned become very abundant in higher difficulties. Just for a frame of reference, Pump It Up's difficulty scale is measured between 1 to 30, with either S or D preceding the number to indicate the playstyle. For example, S9 means a level 9 pattern in singles play, and D28 means a level 28 pattern in doubles play. Incidentally, the current most difficult song is rated D28. Another common trend you'll find the better you get with the game is that the last third or quarter of a song will throw you for a loop one way or another. Whether it's a long pause between the penultimate and final steps that will rapidly drain your gauge if it catches you unawares, or any difficult technique like the bracket jump that kills you because you couldn't nail it properly. So be careful is all I can say. My other complaint is about the am.net online service. It's a cool service and all. I'm a sucker for a personalization element in a video game. It automatically incentivizes going back to a game over and over again, especially if it rewards you for your loyalty. My problems stem from the fact that it's a little too grindy. Leveling up and unlocking new stuff takes a long time, and that's assuming that you're not stepping outside of your comfort zone. The harder the songs you've cleared and the better your scores, the more experience points and currency you'll gain. And that's on top of the individual conditions for the locked step patterns, which get really ridiculous. I think these conditions are a little too cruel for an average person's liking. And I'm not gonna hold my breath, but it would be nice if Undermiro does something about it. What are my final thoughts on Pump It Up Prime 2? It's a truly wonderful rhythm game that is so much fun to play, especially as you explore its intricacies. The gameplay is more akin to dancing than its Japanese and American cousins due to its unbridled freedom and fluidity. Presentation-wise, it's also breathtaking, with its beautiful arcade cabinet and the aesthetics of the menus and heads-up displays. However, the instances of fake difficulty that slowly creep in before fully rearing their ugly head are annoying, especially as you get accustomed to the gameplay. And the lengths you have to go through to unlock some items is also bothersome for both casuals and veterans. Really, there's more good here than there is bad, and you'll have just as much of a blast playing the game as I do. I highly recommend it. If your local arcade, be it a Dave & Buster's or a Round 1 has it, give it a chance. I love supporting good films, good TV shows, good cartoons, and in this case, good video games. It'd be fantastic if you guys do give it a chance because it deserves such love and support. One last thing before I take off, if you ever feel intimidated by the so-called high-tier gameplay or even just getting on stage, don't be. I'm telling you right now, just remember, the professionals of games like this were once beginners themselves with those exact same fears. Their perseverance, commitment, and courage has shaped them to become what they are. I'm not saying that it happens overnight because it doesn't, but if you stick to your guns and are willing to improve and accept criticism and guidance, that will take you many places. Even if you make it to a threshold that you can't seem to surpass, you still manage to derive a greater level of enjoyment than usual. I can say that from experience as an avid rhythm game player myself. In the end, Pump It Up Prime 2, an awesome rhythm game. Play it if you can, you won't regret it.